go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here today on this very important subject matter. You know, we are living through unprecedented times here. The continued lack of leadership and action in Washington, both in the White House and in Congress, is deeply concerning for everyday Americans. What we are witnessing is this not a political failure, it is a moral one. The federal government shutdown has a real and devastating consequences, especially for our most vulnerable residents here in Worcester. We have over 53,000 neighbors who rely on SNAP for their basic nutrition needs. Families are already feeling the strain, and if the shutdown continues, that strain will turn into a crisis. Very simply, what this means is that people will soon have to make impossible choices between food and heat, between rent and medicine, between caring for their families and simply surviving. These are not choices anyone in the richest country in the world should ever have to make. The effects of the shutdown will begin to hit hard on November 1st when families who depend on federal programs like SNAP and fuel assistance start to feel the impact. This is about more than numbers and statistics. These are our neighbors, our co-workers, our parents, and our children. We're not here today to create fear or panic. We're here to remind everyone of the power of community, the power of people, and the power of compassion. Worcester has faced hardship before, and every single time we have come together. We did so during the pandemic. Worcester will once again rise to the occasion and show the resiliency what it truly looks like. I urge our fellow neighbors to step up if they can, buy a gift card or 10 from a supermarket. But let's not stop there. Like during COVID, I'm urging our restaurant community to help too, but to get a meal package to the families that can buy and pay forward. We proved we could do it during COVID, so let's do it again. That is why City of Worcester is stepping up. We are dedicated to supporting families who are most affected by the shutdown. And I just want to thank our elected officials here today. We have State Rep Dan Donohue, City Councilor Christian King, City Councilor George Russell, City Councilor Tel Hydri, City Councilor Louis Ojeda, and Senator Robin Kennedy, State Rep David LaBeouf. But I also want to thank all the community nonprofits. We have the Worcester Community Action Council, Coalition for Healthy Greater Worcester, Center on Food Equity, Worcester County Food Bank, Worcester Family Resource Center, and United Way of Central Massachusetts. Today, we are stating that we will not turn our backs on our neighbors, even when Washington does. But we must also demand accountability. We must demand the federal government reopen immediately. Every day the shutdown continues, another day of uncertainty, fear, and hardship for our working families. Let us stand together, speak with one voice, remind our leaders that government exists to serve people, not politics. Worcester is the heart of the Commonwealth. While Washington turns its back, we will open our hearts. With that, I'd like to turn over to my friend and tireless advocate for this community and throughout the world, someone who's fighting every single day for you and for me in Washington. Please welcome Congressman Jim McGovern.
It's sad that we even have to be here, and it is frustrating as hell. I want to thank the mayor, and I want to thank members of the City Council and the state legislature for the work that you do each and every day to help promote our community, but more importantly, make sure that there's attention on the most vulnerable in our community. I'm grateful to the city manager's staff, David Caroa, and others who have helped put this press conference together. I want to acknowledge the superintendent of the Worcester Public Schools, Brian Allen, and I want to acknowledge all of the incredible advocates, the service providers, the faith-based leaders, the healthcare professionals, and the food pantry leaders who have gathered here today. Your work matters a great deal to me, but more importantly to the people here in central Massachusetts who are struggling to get by. I appreciate the conversations I've had with Casey Burns and Mady Morales and Mary Beth Campbell and Gina Platanino and Tim Garvin and Gene McMurray and Ann Bureau and a thousand other people here who have been so incredibly important to helping get us to this point. And I'm grateful to have you here on the ground here in central Massachusetts. Our community is better because of your efforts, and I'm honored to call you my friends. Look, at Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have made it their mission to go after funding, programs, and services that help keep regular people nourished, that help keep regular people housed and warm. In July, Trump signed into law his big, ugly bill, which will soon go into effect here in Massachusetts. It is the largest cut to food assistance and the largest cut to health care in American history, all to pay for tax cuts for multimillionaires and multibillionaires. The big, ugly bill constitutes the largest transfer of wealth ever, and it will kick tens of thousands of people in Massachusetts off of SNAP and cut the already modest benefit that many families quite at this moment get. And tragically, the bill specifically goes after older adults, families with teenagers, homeless people, former foster youth, and veterans. Think about that for a minute. They're cutting veterans and older people off of SNAP to pay for tax cuts for multimillionaires and multibillionaires. I mean, like, who does that? It's sick. It's sick, and it's cruel. And now, just as the big ugly bill is about to start hitting SNAP recipients, Republicans shut down the government, and Trump has illegally canceled November SNAP benefits. I am outraged. We all should be outraged. This is the first time in American history a U.S. president has withheld food assistance to people in need. And here's the deal. It has nothing really to do with the shutdown, because the money is there. He has the authority to be able to continue this program. There is a contingency fund that Congress funds every year. It has between $5 to $6 billion in it. In addition to that, USDA has the authority to transfer money from one program to another. I mean, they've done it before, and so this is not a big deal. But they're choosing not to. This is a deliberate choice. And as we speak, and I want to thank our Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, for filing suit with other Attorney Generals against this administration over their potential of withholding SNAP funds. That case was heard in a federal court in Boston today, and we're expecting a decision either today or tomorrow. And I hope that the judge affirms what we all believe here, and that is withholding emergency food assistance, withholding SNAP benefits to vulnerable people is against the law. Is against the law. And by the way, USDA had on their webpage a statement of what they were obligated to do in case there was a government shutdown, and one of the things was that SNAP benefits had to be paid. And now it's mysteriously disappeared off USDA's webpage. So even their own lawyers understand this. These people are, this shutdown is also threatening sustained access to critical benefits that help people heat their homes during cold New England winters. Funding right now exists for emergencies only, but that too could run out. They are playing games with people's lives, and people will go hungry because of this rotten administration's actions. I mean, the government needs to be reopened, plain and simple. And here's the deal. They control the White House, they control the Senate, they control the House of Representatives. They're in charge of everything. And if they need votes from people like me, then they got to come to the negotiating table. And one of the things we're asking for right now is for them to extend the tax credits for people who are in the Affordable Care Act system, so that they don't see their health care premiums double or triple. And people are getting those statements now. How the hell are people going to pay for it? If you're sick, you probably will go without food. You won't pay for your groceries. You won't pay for your rent. And if you're healthy, you might say, hey, I'll take a chance, I might drop my health insurance altogether. And that's like a nightmare scenario where you have a health care system where only those who need health care and who are sick are in it. So we've been working with local and state officials and advocates to try to mitigate some of the harm that this Republican catastrophe is doing. And this is going to be a long effort because even if Donald Trump comes to his senses and reverses the immediate harm caused by the shutdown, even if he changes course on canceling SNAP benefits, we're still going to face historic cuts in food assistance. And we're still looking at a looming cut to $1 trillion in Medicaid as a result of legislation they passed. And we know that charity alone cannot solve this crisis. We can't food bank our way to ending hunger in this country. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't work as hard as we possibly can right now to help mitigate some of the incredible harm. I am proud to be here today with not just the people behind me, but the people in this audience who are always on the front lines defending vulnerable people in this community. Because that's what community is. We take care of one another. We care about one another. I wish the federal government would learn a lesson from people here in Worcester and understand that at this time we need to come together. And government is there to solve problems, not to create problems, not to make things worse. If you can afford $40 billion to bail out some right-wing cuckoo clock in Argentina, you ought to be able to find it in your heart to make sure that 40 million people on SNAP get their food assistance. This is not rocket science. It shouldn't be that difficult for people to be able to embrace. So look, we are working together. We're going to continue to work together as a team. All of us in this room, everybody has a role to play, because we're going to do everything we can to have our neighbors' backs during this crisis. And again, it's not just now. It's not just now. This is going on for a while. And so I'm grateful to everybody here. I'm grateful to the city manager and to the mayor and the city councilors and our elected officials. I've been sitting down with Robin Kennedy on a lot of this stuff as well. And I mean, they want to fight. We're going to give them a fight, right? We're not backing down. As the mayor said, this is not just about numbers and statistics. You lose your health care. It's about life or death in some cases. You lose your food assistance. Kids can't learn when they go to school if they're hungry. So we need to get this right, and we are here to say, we're not going to shrink from this fight, and we're going to have your back. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for those words, and thank you for the fight every single day. We also have Senator Moore with us and City Councilor Kate Toomey. We should have all the electeds come in and fill in back here if you want, this as a community. Right here. Next, I will turn it over to our City Manager, Eric Batista, to talk about the city's contribution and our local initiatives. Welcome, City Manager Eric Batista.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here, especially on such a short notice. But as Congressman McGovern explained, our country is days away from a food crisis. There's a reason we're calling this press conference an emergency. SNAP benefits help feed millions of Americans a year, and because of the government shutdown, millions of people could go hungry. They are also at risk of losing access to fuel assistance in the cold winter months and other supportive services as well. In Worcester County, the loss will be felt dramatically. We're talking about 80,000 people in the region served by the United Way of Central Massachusetts receive SNAP benefits. 80,000 people. Worcester alone accounts for nearly 55,000 of those recipients. That's equivalent to 1/4 of the city's population. 1/4 of the city's population. Meaning every 1 in 4 people you pass walking across the Common, driving in Kelly Square, or playing at Green Hill Park is losing their access to healthy food and is also at risk of going hungry. So, We're doing what Worcester does best in a crisis, coming together and finding a way forward. Local nonprofits, community groups, and private donors who are concerned for their neighbors have all joined forces to create a fund to help support the people these cuts will put at risk. In a short time, we've had to make up for the loss. We have worked to generate over $1 million through the generosity of our community, including $250,000 from the municipality itself. This $1 million will act as a stopgap measure to keep food on the tables and fuel in the homes of our residents. It is only a stopgap measure because the average SNAP recipient receives $165 per month, meaning that in Worcester alone, recipients have been receiving nearly $9 million in food benefits a month. $9 million a month. While the SNAP recipients will feel the loss immediately, it would also impact the economy of Worcester. Each month, Massachusetts SNAP participants spend about $220 million, accounting for $1 of every $5 of grocery shells in the Commonwealth. This underlines the fact that immediate action is necessary. So we are working together to build our initial $1 million, and we'll continue to look for people and organizations willing to be able to help out. The municipality's dollars are coming from ARPA funding, and we will continue to look for more. The United Way of Central Massachusetts has generously matched over $250,000 and has agreed to oversee the entire fund to make sure the resources get to those most in need. Our CEO and our friend Tim Garvin is here today to give you the details and explain just how the funds are going to be distributed. The funds that the municipality has provided will stay in Worcester. $150,000 will be set aside for the Worcester Public School families. The remaining $100,000 will be given to the Worcester Community Action Council for fuel assistance. We know that the city's funds and the overall fund are only a short-term solution, and that more cuts to services are potentially possible. As a municipality, we will continue to come to the table and do everything we can to keep our most vulnerable residents fed and warm this winter. We are collaborating with community partners to make sure the residents that benefited from SNAP and other services have a central location for all the information they need. They will include access to food benefits and how to heat their homes safely this winter. I know that with rising fuel costs, it is tempting to use creative ways to stay warm, but those solutions can often be unsafe. So please pay attention to fire safety tips and help prevent unnecessary tragedy. I know these cuts are making an already tough time even tougher for many, many of our neighbors. But seeing all of these people come together to help them gives hope and gives me hope. I want to thank the United Way of Central Massachusetts for contributing the funds and overseeing the distribution. I want to thank the Worcester County Food Bank and Executive Director Gene McMurray for contributing $150,000, Cliff Walker and the Worcester Railers for committing $100,000 and all the work he does for our community, and several other private donors who have stepped up for their community. Community showing up for community and offering what they have, whether it will be large or small, is how we're going to get together through this together. I also want to thank the Worcester Community Action Council for the work they are doing to help distribute fuel assistance and critical information around fire safety. In addition to the $100,000 they are receiving from the municipality, WCAC will also receive $1.1 million in fuel assistance from an emergency fund from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Local utilities have also agreed to a moratorium on shutting off customers' heating source for non-payment if they are on plans based on income eligibility. Again, I want to thank UMass Memorial Health and Central Mass Housing Alliance. WCAC is also prepared with funding, which will be available when the moratorium ends. Additionally, thank you to the Center of Food Equity for developing a centralized location for information on how to access food, which is available on the screens here today. And to the Food and Research and Action Center and the Coalition for Health Greater Worcester for the work they are doing to fight food insecurity every single day. Thank you to the mayor, the entire council for their support in this effort. I also want to thank the Congressman, Senator Markey and Senator Warren for their constant advocacy for our community and fighting for our food security on the federal level. And that includes our state delegation, which many of them are here represented today. I also want to take all hands on deck approach. It will all take an all hands on deck approach to fully address this issue. And I'm heartened that so many people have already come to the table. And those people are many of the food organizations that are in this room, people that are serving. And I know one of them was left out, EBS, Mari, good job on what you're doing, and many other food pantries in this community. While the task ahead of us is daunting, I am hopeful with all the people here and more joining because we're getting the phone calls that we will be able to tackle it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And now I'd like to turn it over to Worcester Public Schools Superintendent Brian Allen, who will discuss the collaboration between the agencies and the Worcester families.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Petty. I want to thank the Congressman, the state delegation, the United Way of Central Massachusetts, our other community partners, the City of Worcester, who are stepping up to help the families of the Worcester Public Schools. In our district of 25,000 students, 73% of our students come from low-income households. For more than a decade, the Worcester Public Schools have been proud to provide free breakfast and lunch to all students through the USDA Community Eligibility Program, regardless of income. Because research is clear, students must be well fed in order to learn and be successful. I want to reiterate that all students will still have access to those breakfasts and lunches at school. Any student who wants a meal during the day will have food available to them. With the halt of SNAP benefits by the federal government, there is a significant need to support our families in the Worcester Public Schools. We are grateful that so many community partners are doing what they can do to help. The truth of the matter is, the support being announced today will only go so far. We need our federal officials to restore these benefits as soon as possible. For those public schools families who may be watching, please know that we'll share information soon on the process to obtain the support through these community agencies in the city. I want to thank everyone here again for stepping up to support our students. No child should go hungry due to a federal shutdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next, I could turn this over to Tim Garvin from the United Way of Central Massachusetts to talk about the United Response Fund and how funds will be distributed. Tim?
Mr. Mayor, City Council, State Delegation, Federal Delegation, all of you. You know, if I had to characterize who we are as a city, I would call us Team Compassion, because we have done this too many times. And although none of us wish we were here, we are here, and that's a thing that's good. Maybe you're like me. You can't even remember the first time when you heard about the Golden Rule. You all know the Golden Rule. I want to see everybody nodding up and down right now, the Golden Rule. Nobody taught it to me. Nobody read it to me. I learned it from watching my parents. And the Golden Rule is really simple. Let's treat others as well as we wish to be treated ourselves. That's simple. That's what we're doing today. We understand there's a crisis, and it's big and it's daunting and it's looming. It will be here. And Congressman, thank you for giving us the most recent federal update. We are 36 hours away. But our city has been organizing. We always do. Sir, I'm really glad. Take pictures of all of this and broadcast it out. So we created this United Response Fund. The city stepped up, the United Way stepped up, private donors, individuals. Every single donation is important because we're reinvesting it back into our community, into Worcester and into the 30 contiguous towns that our United Way serves, so that people will have food. I admit, when I get an email from a friend saying they're willing to put a six-figure gift on the table for this, I get pretty excited. But I would like to share with you the most important donation I heard from. It came in online, $10.15. The cost of lunch. It was from a friend of ours who happens to live at Abby's house, a permanent supportive housing shelter here in the city, $10.15. And this beautiful person wrote, I just want to be sure that someone who needs food has it. And I think that characterizes why we are all here. The United Response Fund. This is going to be a little complicated. In order for us to get money out the door, we need money to come in the door. And we want to do it as nimbly and as quickly as we can. And we will do that. Thank you to the city, $250,000 focused here on the city. The other $750,000, we are going to split between the city, about 70%, and the other 30 communities. We recognize that as much as this is a humanitarian crisis, it's also an economic crisis. Let's talk about that humanitarian thing for a second. So many of you in here, like I am, were parents. I cannot imagine not having enough food for my kids. So many of us, our parents are still alive, our kids' grandparents, our parents who are seniors. I can't imagine not taking care of them. My dad, every single one of my uncles, they're veterans. They served our country, they defended our country. We have to make sure they have food and heat and what they need. Working families, people who are standing around us, people in this room who are working 1 or 2 jobs, we support them. People with disabilities. Down the hall from where I work, I have a bunch of friends who come to work and make sure there are opportunities for others. They are run by and staffed by people with disabilities for disabilities, and they're great people. They are our neighbors. It's a humanitarian crisis. Our $1 million, that'll get recirculated into this community. The numbers that we hear, the numbers that the city manager shared with us, those are numbers that go back into our economy and keep our entire city, our region, our state, and our country running and running strong and running hard. We ask for your help. United Response Fund, please be like that fabulous person at Abby's house. Give $10.15. If you can give more, give more. If you can give a lot more, give a lot more. We will work with this amazing team compassion to make sure the money is allocated and invested in our community, in our people, as quickly as we can. I wish we weren't here. I am always deeply proud to be in this city, and I thank all of you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for always being there, whether it be COVID, Hurricane Maria. United Way has always been there. Thank you, and this community has always been there. And now, Jane McMurray, CEO of the Worcester County Food Bank, will talk about the contributions made by her organization. Jane?
Good afternoon, everyone, and I want to begin my brief remarks by thanking the city manager, the mayor, Congressman McGovern, and all of their staff teams for convening us, and for all of you for being here today to show Worcester County, Massachusetts, and our country the most powerful example of our community coming together and taking action during this extremely challenging and uncertain time. 42 million Americans, including more than 50,000 of our Worcester neighbors, working families, children, senior citizens, and people with disabilities, are hours away from losing access to food because of the Trump administration's cruel and calculating decision to delay November SNAP benefits, the nation's most effective food security program and first defense against hunger. The delay in SNAP benefits is the most devastating blow to our neighbors in the history of the program. It also has a crushing impact on our local farmers, grocery stores, and local economies that depend on this federal investment. Every month, SNAP brings an estimated $10 million into Worcester and $26 million into Worcester County. Each SNAP dollar has a multiplier effect and generates another $1.50 in economic activity. Losing this combined economic stimulus for even 1 month will ripple across every community. The Worcester County Food Bank and the many community leaders and organizations in Worcester, as well as just the residents of Worcester, know that with benefits delayed, thousands of our Worcester neighbors will seek assistance for the first time from one or more of the 34 Worcester-based pantries, and many residents will need assistance from these pantries more often. Without SNAP benefits, the sheer magnitude of food needed will be impossible to supply, because for every 1 meal equivalent provided by food from the Worcester County Food Bank in a pantry, SNAP benefits provide 9. The stark reality is that food banks and pantries cannot replace SNAP benefits. But what we are doing, as we have done before during a crisis, is step up in partnership with the city, Congressman McGovern, the United Way of Central Massachusetts, our state delegation, pantries, and other community organizations to increase resources that we hope, in this case, will help mitigate some of the harm our neighbors will experience because of the Trump's callous decision and total lack of compassion. So, as was already announced, the Worcester County Food Bank is contributing a total of $150,000 worth of supermarket gift cards to the United Response Fund effort. Now, thank you. As we've all have said, we wish we weren't here, but we are grateful that we are our tremendous partners and that we live and work in a tremendous community of people who care about their neighbors. And I want to underscore that this contribution from the Worcester County Food Bank is above and beyond everything else that the food bank is able to do year-round, from our distribution of food, of gift cards, and funding to our partner agencies that altogether value nearly $20 million. And all of this is only possible because of the loyal and generous individuals, businesses, foundations, and organizations supporting us, and more importantly, supporting our neighbors every step of the way. Our advocacy and collective action at the local, state, and federal levels will continue until the government reopens and SNAP benefits flow again. And we ask everyone here, as well as your families, your friends, and coworkers, to join in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And before we go on, I just want to recognize Jesse Letterman from Senator Markey's office is with us. We have school committee member Molly McCullough also with us. Lastly, we have a very special speaker, someone who's going to tell a great story and who feels the impact. Here is Kayla Bergeron, a member of the Worcester community, to talk about the real-world impacts of these cuts will have. Kayla?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Bergeron, and I am a Worcester resident in the Main South area. I am a mother of 4 children, and I have a household of 6 with 4 kids and my fiance. I am currently employed where my income, just one income, is equivalent to 2 incomes in my household. And I do receive SNAP benefits. It's not a large amount, it's a small amount, but it's enough to get my family through the first week and a half of the month. The SNAP freeze is really worrisome for me and my family, as I have a family who has medical conditions where we do require 3 meals a day and snacks in between. Having the loss of our SNAP definitely puts me in a predicament where I have to make the decision of making partial payments towards my car insurance, my gas bill, my electric bill. I literally just got paid today, and rent took my entire check, leaving me with $200. And I'm supposed to get my food stamps the first week of the month. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen in my situation, but I know that having the food pantries available is definitely a big help and support to my family, but again, does not cover the cost of what my family needs to sustain with our food supply. And also with the fuel assistance, which my family also receives as well, is again another struggle where we have to make partial payments to the gas bill to make up for that loss in food stamps. And I just want to share that we are asking Donald Trump and his administration to please allow the food stamps to come through for this month and continue coming through, along with the other assistance that comes that are being affected in the shutdown. And me and my family would really appreciate it, along with a lot of other families in our community who are experiencing worse situations or even better situations, but still need that help. And I again ask for us to come together so that way we can get the government back open. I'm very appreciative of all of the support that our community is coming up shorthand and putting everything together so that way families are being served with food. So I want to say thank you for everybody in here working so hard, and again, please open up the government so we can get our SNAP, because a lot of families depend on it, including mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor, for that powerful message, and we're here for you. That's why we're here, and all the other millions of people that are being affected here in Massachusetts. I want to thank you for those speakers and our community partners. Together, we will get through this together, what we have in the past, because we are a good community. We all want to make sure this turns out right. Now, I'd like to turn it over on the topic of questions from the media. Maybe we'll have our speakers come on up. And just come on up, and Eric, and come up in this case. So we're going to turn it over. Tom, you want to run this? Or Tom Matthews.
Professional. Thank you, Tom. Adam Bass, Mass Live. Quick question. There are some who suggested that the Massachusetts state government tap into the rainy day fund to help pay for SNAP. Do Mayor Petty or City Manager Batista have any comment about that? Would they support Governor Healy tapping into the rainy day fund?
Okay. Go ahead. Well, let me go before them, if I could. First of all, this is a federal responsibility, right? I mean, the federal government is responsible for SNAP, and the federal government has the money to pay out the benefits. We just need to get the federal government to do that. Number two, the other thing the Trump administration said is that if the state, and maybe some of my state legislators might want to add to this, if the state were to pay out money, they would not get refunded. I mean, that's the other thing. So look, the goal right now is to get Donald Trump to not cancel food assistance for people. I mean, that's the focus. And what we're doing here is we're preparing just in case, he doubles down on the cruelty. But we're also here to tell you that even if the SNAP benefits continue, it's still not enough. I mean, hunger in this country is going up. SNAP benefits decreased since the COVID days. It's, as was said, as Gene said, it's an average of about a little over $2 per person per meal. How the hell can you live on that? I mean, we ought to be fighting to expand SNAP benefits so that people can actually afford food with their benefits, and we can then end hunger and food insecurity in this country once and for all. But let's not say that the burden, should be on the state when, quite frankly, it should be on the federal government. And again, I'm hoping this judge today will agree with us and pass down an order to prohibit him from cutting these benefits.
I do agree with Jim McGovern, and we've been in contact with the governor's office and the city of Worcester, and And we're as a community, as a state, willing to get through it. So we all have to work together to make sure this happens. Any other questions? Or seeing none?
Hold on a second.
I think Robin wants to.
Oh, Robin, you want?
Yeah, you want, that's an important point.
Thank you. I just want to be able to add a couple relevant points. And first and foremost, I want to echo Congressman McGovern and the other speakers, both in saying that the cruelty of this decision lies with one individual, and that's President Donald Trump. As was mentioned by the congressman, he has the resources, the reserves exist, and no other president under any other shutdown has made the decision to cut off food stamps. It has been a continued program during every other, both Democrat and Republican president, and every other shutdown. I just wanted to give a quick state perspective and just to some of the numbers. It's 1 million residents that are going to experience the pain that Kayla and her family will experience here in Massachusetts. 84% of those individuals and families represent children under the age of 18, individuals with disabilities, our elders in our community, our veterans. So we definitely have an obligation. I do just want to make the point to folks, particularly anyone that's listening that utilizes SNAP benefits, that HIP, the Healthy Incentive Program, access to fruits and vegetables, is still available. That is a state-funded program. As long as you keep 1 penny on your card, you're going to be able to continue to access that funding. In addition, any SNAP benefits that currently are on your card will roll over, so you will continue to be able to access those. And lastly, I just want to note that WIC is still available as a program and still accessible. So I want to make sure that to anyone that's listening, that's utilizing SNAP benefits, that you can continue, accessing any of the other benefits, that you can continue to use those. Thank you.
We're gonna keep questions to the media, so if any other members of the media have a question now would be the time to ask. Good? All right. Thank you very much for coming out.